Hi all and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all fine. NSC here, back again for you guys. Yeah, like the most already know, long ago I have made a video on how to flash some BIOS chips with an USB programmer, just like this one here. But yeah, it was 7 years ago, and today I just took my time to do, let's say, again a video, but some kind of up to date, because the BIOS chips, they have just changed. We have now some NOR and NAND BIOS chips where you also need some adapters and all the stuff. But yeah, today I'm gonna show you again lots of great stuff with a lots of informations and input. So go get you a coffee and then we're gonna get started.
NSC.
Yeah guys, like you can see, I got here on the table lots of adapters, and we got here also the BIOS programmer, which is this small lovely USB BIOS programmer. I really still love it. I got here a few ones of them. I got here also a second one which I just modify for myself, because sometimes I just need the cable longer. Sometimes I needed to connect it, yeah, let's say some kind of different on the motherboards and whatever. So here I have also another one. Then I got here some adapters and more stuff. Here I got, let's say, some newer BIOS chips, but this, yeah, let's talk about that later. Here I got a very new BIOS chip. So this is the next thing that I want to talk with you about. And we got here the next adapter, which is also necessary for the newer, or let's say for the newest BIOS chips, because the newest BIOS chips, they just work on about 1.8 volts. And it's not recommend, of course, when you give him about 5 volts, it could probably damage the BIOS chip. It never happens to me that I just damaged, or let's say broke, a BIOS chip with the USB programmer here without adapters. But we never know, because if you want to be on the safe side, you should use adapter. If it's necessary to use an adapter, then please just go on and use it. I just want to say that in my case, where I'm a guy that flashes a lot of BIOS chips, and so that's why I can tell you it never happens to me that I have destroyed a BIOS chip, even not these ones which are normally running on about 1.8 volts. But yeah, this is up to you guys. That's why you should test it for yourself. I'm a guy that really flashes a lots of stuff, and I'm working with a lots of chips. So that's why I can tell you it never happens to me that I have destroyed a chip just by using this programmer without adapters. But if you want to be on the safe side, like I told, it's better you get you an adapter. This one here is, let's say, for the NOR chips, which runs on about 1.8 volts. Sometimes you have chips which needs about 3.3 volts, and sometimes you're gonna have some chips which can handle 5 volts without problems. But like I told, I have a lots of times used this bad boy here without adapters. Never ever happened something to me, or let's say to my chips, and I really have flashed it since, let's say, 7 years. Normally I have way longer. Before this video I have flashed BIOS chips, so I can tell you never something happened to me because of the voltage. But we're gonna just test this later. I can just tell you and recommend you, if you have a NOR chip which runs on 1.8 volts, then go on, get you an adapter, because so you're gonna be on the safe side. So I don't know where to begin, but I would say I'm gonna now just close the notebook for now, and I'm gonna begin to talk with you about all these adapters. So I'm gonna now just get the camera a little bit more down. And the thing is, I don't know where to begin, but yeah, let's begin with this adapter here. This is a great thing. I've made this for myself, and I have also modified it. So that means I have here scratch around, lap around. I have also just cut it really completely. You can also just desolder all these pins here, just get them all off, and then you're going to be able to get this all off here. We have here an SOP8 socket adapter, and you can see also here 200 till 209 millimeters. The great thing is on these adapters, when you just press it down, you're going to unlock it. So you're going to be able now to get your BIOS chip inside. When you just let it go, it's going to take the BIOS chip, so you're going to have the contacts. In this case here, this normally is not made, let's say, for this newer BIOS chips, the Nord chips or whatever, but I have made it possible to get this one here inside. Yeah, and these days you can also get just an adapter like this one here. I have bought it very cheap from China, and you can see they are just made specially for the QFN8 and DP8 and all the stuff. So this one here is also a very great adapter, which you can just get this chip here inside, and then you need to connect it to your USB programmer. So, but long ago, it was not really, let's say, easy to find adapters like this, and that's why I have just modified this old bad boy here so that it's gonna work also with these chips. The other thing is also what you can do. You can just solder some IDE cables, like you can see here. These are some old HDD IDE cables, and you can just cut them away, and then you can also solder, let's say, the 8 cables to this bad boy, or let's say to the chip itself, and then you can also flash the chip, or let's say read the chip, whatever. You can just program it, just easy. I'm gonna also here, while I'm talking, let's say display you some pictures which I have made for myself, for you guys, for this video. So there you can see that you can also do it like that, and it will probably work without problems. Yeah, the other thing is also you can just use a multimeter to check the contacts of the BIOS chip, and there you're gonna also see where you need to solder the cables, and probably gonna be able to do it just like on this way here. I got here the same USB programmer, but you can see also here I have soldered these cables on the back, and you can also see pin 1 and pin 8, because on every BIOS chip you have always, let's say, sometimes you're going to find a small dot, and sometimes you're going to find, let's say, some paint. It conforms which manufacturers. Some manufacturers, they just do it with a paint or with a marker, and some other manufacturers, they just do a small dot, which you can also see in which direction you need to connect, let's say, the BIOS chip to the programmer. So the other thing that I also want to explain you and to tell you is, if you just buy a BIOS chip, you should always take the BIOS chip first and control it. Check it if there is really a BIOS inside, because long ago I have bought me a BIOS chip and there was no BIOS flash it. So that means that bad guy, he just sent me a chip without two programming. So I told him, hey, please, install the BIOS chip version, I don't know, it doesn't matter, 1XX05. The BIOS chip came home, I just took the BIOS chip, and then I have just checked it for myself, and the BIOS chip was just blank. It was just, it was empty. There was nothing inside, and I just thought myself, you bad boy, how can you do that? So, but that's why you should always take care where you buy your BIOS chip. I'm gonna, on the video description, I'm gonna recommend you a great website from Netherlands, and this is a master guy which really does great work, and I can just recommend you this guy. So whatever, I'm gonna now just begin, let's say, to explain you here how you can flash these chips also without to taking out the BIOS chip itself. Okay, so in my case, you know, I'm a guy that I always want to have the BIOS chip in my hand, because there I know there gonna always be 100% contact, and there it's also easier to work with. But a lot of people's, they just don't have soldering skills, and sometimes it's just better to connect some cables, because on newer motherboards like this, you have also here some connections, and that's the next point where I'm going to talk with you about. So now let's just take this all the way here, and we're going to take a closer look on some newer motherboards which have, let's say, some newer BIOS chips, like some NOR chips or NAND chips. And I'm going to now just get here down a little bit, so here, and I'm going to now just get the smartphone, and we're gonna here now get a little bit closer. So here you can see I have soldered all these cables by myself, and there was the BIOS chip before. Okay, so you need to imagine this BIOS chip here was there inside with a heat gun on about 360 till 400 degrees. You're going to be able to take off the BIOS chip itself. You need to calculate that the motherboard needs a lot of heat so that you're going to be able to get the BIOS chip off, because the motherboard is really thick and it takes a long time till it gets hot. So with a heat gun, when you try to remove the BIOS chip just with a heat gun, normally should be working with on about, let's say, 380 degrees, but sometimes you're gonna need about 400 or 420 degrees. And you should also use a heat gun where you can see the temperatures, a heat gun with a temperature display, and you should set it also on the lowest fan speed. So, but here you can also see, like I told, I got here one cable, which is a single cable, okay? So this one here is single. That means that this cable here is dot one, or let's say contact number one. So there comes the rest, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes these BIOS chips, they just need about, let's say 2 or 4 contacts only. The rest is not really necessary. Let's say to flash or to program it, to read it, and to write it. So, but this is a little bit complicated now for you guys. Now here you can see that we have here some, let's say, pins. You can get contact to the BIOS chip over these pins. I'm going to show you this in a few seconds. Here you can also probably get some adapters which you can just connect it over the pins, and then you're going to be able to connect it to your USB programmer. So, but if you don't have any special, let's say, clips or contacts or whatever, you can just do it like me. Just take your, let's say, modified USB programmer, just like I have now, and there you can just also quickly solder cable by cable on the pin. So sometimes you're gonna also find on the internet, let's say, the diagram, or let's say the diagram, how to connect the cables. But if you're gonna not be able to find something for your motherboard, or let's say for the MSI motherboard, or from ASUS or whatever, I'm gonna now here explain you how you can just easily find out which pin is which contact. And that's why I'm gonna get you now again into the tripod. So there I need now just to zoom a little bit in, and now we can work here together. And I'm gonna try to do that so simple I can, and so easy that you can really understand the most. So now let's just get here the multimeter, and we're gonna set it here to this symbol here, which begins to beep when you get the pins here together. Okay, so here take a look. Okay, so Let's zoom a little bit back. So, okay, I think this should be enough. I'm gonna go now to this side for you guys. You just set, I just forgot the name in English. Just set it to here so that you can hear some sounds when you're gonna have some contacts. Okay, so here. All right. Now I'm gonna try really to do it so easy as I can for you guys. All right, now you can, while the chip is connected, you can just go here. You're gonna see here's the BIOS chip, but there you're gonna still see the contacts. And you can go with one and get to the contact, and then you just try to find out which is the pin that's gonna have contact. Here I just found it right now. Okay. So when the chip is still soldered to the motherboard and you have no practice how to get the BIOS chip off, then you can go here to the BIOS chip and then you just search the pin, and there you're gonna see, this is the pin, let's say number 5. Okay, so let's search pin number 1. I'm gonna put this here by the side. Let's search pin 1. And here again, you just go around and search till it beeps. And there you're gonna then find the necessary pin. Here we go. Okay, so here. This one here, oh wait, come on. This is pin 1. And so this is the way how you can solder cable by cable that you're gonna be able, let's say, to flash the BIOS chip while it's still installed on the motherboard. So in some other cases where the BIOS chip is really damaged, you're gonna need to take it all off, just like I have done here right now. And you also can just solder some IDE cables, just like I have done here right now, because like that it's just faster to check if the motherboard gonna work like that or if not. Because let's say you have now just installed back the BIOS chip, it's gonna be again lots of work to take it off and heat it up and all the stuff. So this is, let's say, a faster way. Okay, so it's better for you guys. The next thing that I want to talk about is also very informative and very great, because some motherboards, or let's say some older motherboards, they had 2 BIOS options, BIOS 1 and BIOS 2. On some newer motherboards, it's not really that often that you're gonna find, let's say, a motherboard with 2 BIOS chips. The great thing is, on motherboards with 2 BIOS chips, that you can just select between BIOS number 1 or BIOS number 2. So that means that you can just have some, let's say, you can have some stuff on BIOS number 1 and you can have other settings on BIOS number 2. And long ago you had a small switch which you could just select BIOS number 1 or BIOS number 2. The other great thing is also, when you have 2 BIOS, you can flash the first BIOS chip, let's say, with an older BIOS version, and the second BIOS chip, you can flash it with, let's say, the latest or the newest BIOS version. So there you can just test a lot of stuff for you guys, and so it's probably not bad. If you are a professional guy like me, you could probably get an adapter like this, and you can just, this part here, you can just take it off and solder it there. You know what I mean? So this is really great, because you could probably take this off here, solder it to the motherboard, and there you can all the time take the BIOS chip on and off. Okay? So this is just a lot of informations. And some people, they're gonna think, oh my god, you're really crazy. Yes, I am, and that's why I'm just trying to explain you. So if you just wish a motherboard with different BIOS chips, it's the fastest way to do that. Of course, you need to modify it a little bit, yeah, but it's just one time. Take off the original BIOS chip, solder an adapter just like this onto the motherboard, and then you just can here open it, and you can just get a BIOS chip inside, and you don't need to wait always the flashing procedure, okay? Because always when you try to do here an update, or let's say a downgrade, it takes about 7 or 10 minutes, okay? So I can here just replace the BIOS chip in about maximum 1 minute, okay? And I'm done. Yeah, it's really that easy. I just open it here, get the new BIOS chip, or let's say the other BIOS chip inside. I just close the door here, and then I can just turn it on. And maybe I need just to reset the CMOS, and yeah, it was all. So it's not bad, because this idea is really great. And you can find this small adapters also on eBay. And like I told, on the video description, I'm going to post you all the links which will be really necessary if you want to do that kind of stuff. We now gonna go to the computer, and then I'm gonna show you also some stuff on some newer tools, or let's say applications, which you can download and which you need to download, because you cannot, let's say, flash a newer BIOS chip with some older applications, and that's why it's necessary that you need to download some newer softwares. But this is now the next thing that I'm going to show you. You need a tool which calls AS Programmer or Neo Programmer. I really like the Neo Programmer because it has automatically detection. And of course, this is easier for you guys, because there you don't need to search the manufacturer, the chip, and all the stuff. I'm gonna now just take here, let's say, yeah, I don't care, a BIOS chip. Doesn't matter which one, because we're gonna now just select it on the tool itself, and it's gonna show us which manufacturer and all the stuff. You can see here the small dot, which indicates pin 1. Okay, there it is. So this is the most important for you, that you know in which direction you need to connect the BIOS chip. So now I know my adapter, and pin number 1 is now on this side, so there. And I'm gonna now here open it, and again be sure where pin 1 is in your case. Now I have just placed it in, and now I'm gonna just let the contacts, and you can see now that all the contacts, or let's say that all the legs, are touching the BIOS chip. So the other thing is now pin 1 in this case is this direction, and yeah, we can also go here for the 1.8 volts adapter. You can see it here, and there is also always written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is pin 1, yeah, and of course the cables are running under there. See that? To this side, okay, here. So we need this side here, okay. So here, this side is now down, okay. So we got here 1, 2, 3, 4. Pin 1 is here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you can see here we have here pin 1, and it needs to be connected like that, okay. So take a look, check it, control it. I control it too, and let's just close it. Now you have here the 1.8 volts adapter. That means that they're gonna just run 1.8 volts. Of course, you're gonna now still need your USB programmer, and there you can also see how to connect it. Okay, so here you can see it needs to be down. So we're gonna open it again, and now we need again pin number 1, or you can see also this symbol here, and you just connect it just like here. Okay, because you see on the left side the symbol is down on the first 4 steps. Yeah, we got here 1, 2, 3, 4, and under there you got also 1, 2, 3, 4, but we need the first ones. Okay, so again, pin 1 goes to 1 and pin 4 goes to 4. We need to connect it just like that, control it again, and close it. Okay, so now it looks like that. Look at this. It looks like a tower. So now we can now just go on and do the first test if all is here really working or not. Let's just zoom back. We're gonna now just connect it. All right, let's just make the zones on. Okay, now we're gonna start the tool Neo Programmer, which I really can recommend. This is this one here. And now you gonna just select detect, and you also try to see here if the LED is lighting up or not. Here we go. Aha. So yeah, it was working. And there you can see now 3 different chips. Okay, so and there is written which model it is. Okay, so here you can see it's a WinBond chip, and it says something like W25Q256FV, or here you can see here JV or BV. Okay, so in my case I know it's this one here, and it's always written on the BIOS chip itself which model number it is. Okay, so there you need to take a look then and just select it. Okay, now I'm going to zoom back again, because you also need to take care if the chip is really working or not. So now we're going to go here, and we go here to the tool, and we're going to tell it to read the IC chip, or let's say the BIOS chip. Here we go. So now it's beginning, and you can see it's working. We already have here some symbols. This is programming language, and I'm gonna now just zoom again. So let's get a little bit more down. And there you can see also that the BIOS chip is working, or let's say the adapter. And you can also see here that, yeah, the LED here is reading, because when I'm now gonna, let's say, just stop it, I'm gonna now just press here. Here, I'm gonna just cancel it, and now just take a look what happens. Here we go. Okay, so it's not reading anymore, and then you're gonna also here get an error. Okay, so but this was just to show you what you can do and how you can do. So yeah, the next thing is also, again, if you just select detected, you also here can see how much volts it's necessary. Okay, so there you can see it's working on 3.3 volts. The USB programmer itself, without the adapter, is working on about 3.3 till 5 volts. I'm going to show you this later. But now here, in this case, this adapter here could make some problems, okay? Because this adapter now is working on just 1.8 volts, but the BIOS chip needs 3.3 volts. So now what would you do? Would you flash it with 1.8 volts, or would you just flash it with the original USB BIOS programmer? Like I told you, I have flashed a lot of chips just with the BIOS program itself. It never happened something to me, and that's why in this case I can recommend BIOS chips that needs about 3.3 volts or more. It's recommended to flash it without the 1.8 volts adapter, okay? Because probably it could work, but I have seen some different things that, let's say, okay, you're gonna just flash it and program it, but then here you're gonna have some different symbols, and there you know something is wrong. You can also find on the internet some modifications where the peoples just have lift up here, let's say, yeah, here leg, and they have just solder a cable and bridge some stuff and whatever, and they say, hey, look, now it's working on 3.3 volts and not on 5 volts. But like I told, I have tested a lots of stuff for myself, and it was not really working that good, okay? So you need to take care when you sometimes see videos on YouTube where they have just modify here some stuff. Take care, guys, because they are not always really working good, and that's why I cannot recommend to do that, because I know myself, okay, you think it's gonna work, but at last, or let's say on the end, you're gonna see you're gonna have some different symbols. You can control that very good. So let's say you have made a backup and you have installed or flash the same BIOS to the BIOS chip, but with the modified USB programmer, then you're gonna see sometimes that you're gonna have some different symbols here, and this gonna not work. And that's why it's important that you always check it for yourself, because you know, yeah, trust is good, but control is better. Okay, yeah, so this is the thing that I need to tell you. This tools here, or let's say this application, which is Neo Programmer, is also working, let's say, with this USB BIOS programmer here, okay? But now let's just zoom back again, and we're gonna connect the BIOS chip, which needs, let's say, just 1.8 volts. And I'm gonna not just disconnect it again here. Now let's just open it here again, and we're gonna take now the other BIOS chip. So, and there you can just take a closer look. You're gonna always see some numbers and all this stuff, and you need to take care because you need it to select it later. Okay, so here you can see blah 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 MX 25U 25673G. Okay, so here you can see that, yeah, 25673G. Okay, just remember that. Okay, so zoom back. Now again, the dot in my case goes there. So let's hope it has contact. If not, I needed to adjust it for myself later. I'm gonna try my best. It's also good to have some contact spray. Contact spray is very good. It's gonna help also to have a good contact. All right. Now let's see if it's working, or let's say if it has contact. So here we go again. And now let's just detect it again. Not detecting. Can see that? It's not working. Not working because the chip is not really in the right place. So let's put it back. Okay. All right. Let's test it again. I told you, I've just modified it for myself, so sometimes I need to test it. Here we go. Okay, so now we have contact, and you can see here, it shows you that this chip here needs 1.8 volts. And then it also shows you, you can now select between 635F or 673G. And you saw that right now that we need 5673G. Okay, so we need this one here. Click, click. Okay, and now you see it's working, and we can also here read it again. And I need to zoom back a little bit, so there you're gonna see that it is already working. And you can also check the LED, and here you can also see it's working. Okay, so this is a great thing, and that's why I just wanted to show you all this stuff here. I know it's a complicated video. For me, it's even more complicated because I need to think about how I'm going to do that all. But somehow I'm going to cut it, put it all together and upload it for you guys. Okay, have I forgot something? Yes, I have forgot something, but I'm going to talk about that later. The other tool that I want to present you, which gonna also work with this USB programmer, this tool, which calls AS Programmer, gonna also work. Okay, I'm gonna not just close this one here, and here we go. Now you need to go here to IC, and then you just select SPI, because in the most cases these BIOS chips are SPI. You go there and you search for Micronics, because MX IC chips, they are from the manufacturer Micronics. And of course you search the model number, and you can you can search it faster, because here you can see 1.8 volts, and under there you can see some chips which has no voltage, and there we're gonna all the way down find again some chips with 1.8 volts. Okay, so here, but in this case I already know where the chip is, so I don't know if you can remember, it was the MX25U25673G. Okay, so it was this one here. I'm gonna not just select it. Here we go. Now let's just zoom a little bit back. And then, of course, you need here also to select read IC chip. Okay, here we go. And you can also see now it's reading the chip, and later you're gonna also find here all the stuff. Latest then when you're gonna just press stop, but this tool here first is, yeah, let's say reading all the chip, and you can again just take a look if it's working or not, and you can see it's working very good. So now I'm gonna here go again back to the tool, or to this tool here. And now I'm gonna not just press stop. Okay, here we go. And then you can see the chip was getting readed or reading, and it was working. Yeah, like I told, this tool is not bad also, AS Programmer, but you need to be a little bit more advanced, because you need to select it all yourself, you need to search the chip yourself. And the thing that I like on the Neo Programmer is that you just select detect IC chip, and then it's gonna detect the chip automatically. So that's why I really like it. Okay, so now let's just close it. I hope that I'm gonna really be useful with this video, because this is really so much. And for me right now, it's a big pain to get this all working here. So for now, let's just get this one here inside again. And we're gonna take again the multimeter and we're gonna test the voltage. So here, let's just select here to this one here. And now you're gonna be able to see that the USB programmer, just like it is right, yeah, connected right now, you can now just, yeah, touch here on the front, the USB, let's say here, let's say ground, okay, here, just touch it. And then you can go around here and see if we're gonna find, let's say, the voltage. And you can see here, it's working on about 4.9 volts. This one here is working on 3.3 volts. And this contact is working also on 4.9 volts. And there you can just keep going and control it for yourself. Okay, so the thing that I also wanted to show you is you got here now about 5 voltage. But when you are here working with that guy, the voltage gonna get down. And lots of people that just don't know it. And that's why I just want to explain you that stuff. So when the chip is just connected here inside, now it's working on 5 volts. Okay, you can see it here. So this one, come on, 3.3, and this one 4.9, and here again 3.3, 4.9, 4.9, and the other one was 0. So you can see that we had here 2 contacts which was working on 3.3, and the other 2 was working on 5 volts. Again, I'm gonna go here. So I'm gonna here now just get, let's say, here on ground, and I just want to show you that we have here now 5 volts. Okay, so sorry, I'm shaking a little bit, but you can see we have the 5 volts now. Now I'm gonna press that he should read the chip, and wait here. Let's go. So now it's reading, and you can see here it's green. Okay, yeah, you can see it now. So now again, I'm gonna hold it on ground here, and I'm gonna hold it on this contact again. So, and now you can see it's going down to 0.5, 0.3, and. So there's not always 5 volts. And that's the thing that I wanted to show you. Now we got here 3.7 volts on the other side. And on the other side, where we had 5 volts before, you can see it's working on, let's say, less than 3.3 or 5 volts. So it confirms how it's working. Okay, and this is the thing that I wanted to show you. Okay, so now I'm gonna stop again the program. Here we go, stop right now, and we're gonna just take a look again, and you see now we're gonna have again 5 volts. Okay, so I'm sorry for the bad light, but the thing that I wanted to show you is, if you have connected to the computer, you should work fast, okay? Because as long it's just connected like that, that means that the 5 volts right now are just working, okay? So the 5 volts, they are there. And when it just type reading or writing or programming, the voltage gonna get down. While the programmer is not really doing anything, it's on 5 volts right now, okay? So there you can also take, let's say, care of your chip, because you know when it's just connected to the USB port, it's always on 5 volt. Okay, now I'm gonna take this chip out here. So, and we're gonna connect it to this adapter. So let me now just get you some more lights. And then you also gonna see this kind of adapter, which I really love. You need just to open it, press it down here, okay, click, and open it. There is, let's say, pin number 1. And in this case, we don't need to flip it because this was just my own modification. And we got here this symbol, okay, the dot, which is here. So we're gonna now just put him over there. This is the right direction right now. And now we're gonna just close it and push him back. So it's connected. Now, of course, we don't need this one here now. This here is made by NSC in the place to be. Lots of work. It was long ago, but lots of work here. Okay, like I told, don't forget the adapter, because this chip now needs 1.8 volts. I have already connected it. Now let's connect this guy here to this adapter. So the adapter goes now to the adapter plus the adapter with another adapter. So we have here thousands of adapters. Here's again pin 1. It's not good to see because the lights right now. And you got also there down pin 1. So this is now connected right. We're gonna get now the adapter with 1.8 volts connected like this here down. Okay, so here you can see it again, down. Yeah, sometimes it gets really complicated with a lots of adapters. Okay, again, let's connect it. Okay, and we're gonna press now detect again to see if it's gonna work or not. Here we go. Yes. Okay, so there you can see it's working. Okay, so now again select it was here 673G. Here we go, and let's read it. Yep, it's working. I can also see it here. Green light, green light. Yeah, green light, it's working. The last thing before I also forget, if you want to be sure on how much volts the motherboard is working, you can just connect the power supply and then you just turn it on, and then of course you can just take a look on how much voltage the BIOS chip is working. So if you need a 1.8 volts BIOS chip, then you're also going to see that the motherboard is here working with 1.8 volts. Okay, you just hold the pin on ground, just like here. This is ground. Hold it there, and then you can just control one by one how much voltage you're gonna have. Okay, so when you just see here it's working on 3.3 volts, then you know you're gonna need a BIOS chip with about 3.3 volts. And sometimes, like I told you, have motherboards which are working with 1.8 volts only. and so you can also control how much voltage is running here. And yeah, I hope this was also a good information for you guys. Okay, I'm done for now. I'm really tired, and I think this video gonna take me a long time to cut it all together. And I hope that you guys just proud of me. I hope that you guys really just love it. And I hope that you guys have just learned a lots of things in this video. Okay guys, that was all for me. NSC in the place to be. Peace. Wish you all the best. Stay tuned on my channel. Subscribe, share this video, and just take care on you all, yeah? Wish you the best. Bye bye. Big love. NSC in the place to be.
NSC in the place to be. NSC